Good evening or good day. I am at the University of Alberta. I decided to just take a little walk around campus. I haven't been out here forever. I used to work here 40 years ago. It's about 7:45 right now in the evening, and there's still a fair number of people around. Just trying to figure out if I even recognize this campus from 40 years ago. These are the original buildings of the university way back in the day. Trying to remember the names. One was Assiniboia Hall. Yeah, this one's Pembina Hall. And then over here is Assiniboia Hall. I used to have to do rounds out here. I was a computer operator. Part of the job was going out to labs and stuff and stocking paper in. Essentially, they were printers with typewriters, decorators I think they were called. And they were somewhere in the basement of Assiniboia Hall. About 2 degrees right now. It's calm. It's nice. And it's tough to walk around the house in the neighborhood because of all the ice. So I figured I'd just try out here, thinking the past would be quite a bit more maintained. And this is Athabasca Hall. The 3 original university buildings from the early 1900s. A lot of these trails are well lit, so you can feel somewhat safe on campus here. Found it to be a whole different world out here on campus. It's like its own ecosystem. Need to make this walk count because I paid $5 to park. I don't know where there's free parking around here, but I'm sure it's pretty slim. This is the cab building. I remember having to do maintenance in there. It's got its own Tim Hortons. That's nice. 2 of them. Well, there's kind of amenities when I worked here 40 years ago. This is the admin building. Used to be a data center in there that did all of the administrative processing. I used to work in the general services building, which is beyond this building, which is Students' Union. Lots of nerdy people walking around here. And me. When I had to do rounds here, it was usually at like 2 in the morning. And I'm kind of a skittish guy. It just was kind of nerve-wracking to be out here that time of day. Generally, there was just me and security out. But, yeah, it was kind of weird to be wandering around campus at 2 in the morning. Centennial Center for Interdisciplinary Science. These things just sound made up now. Still some nice old buildings on campus though, intermixed with the new ones. I do not know the campus very well at all now. Kind of walking around in circles. But that's okay, that's still exercise. Biological Sciences building. Is that where they're combining Ebola with the common cold to see what happens? don't want to be in that building. Three kids in the parkade off the engineering building, smoking the devil's grass. Hope they're not the ones that are designing new bridges and stuff. This is mechanical engineering here. When I worked here as a computer operator, I was on the non-academic side, obviously, and basically providing support for the university and students taking computing science. Currently heading north now towards the north end of campus. Where I parked at the General Services building is kind of at the southwest end of campus. The three managers I had on my side of things in the computing department were three of the biggest dinks you would find. I was never so happy to quit a job in my life. I ended up getting another job and put in my resignation and said I'm quitting, taking my holidays, and I'm done. And of course they brought out the collective agreement and said, oh, well, you can't take your holidays as part of your leaving the department. And I said, okay, so pay me out for my holidays. And said, oh, well, here's your card key back. I'm like, no, thank you, I'm gone today. This is the faculty club where the academics got to dine. Got to eat in there once, I think. And in my 21-year-old brain, I thought, ooh, this is fancy. Cloth napkins and everything. These people know how to live. Had a lot of good times with the people I worked with here. The bosses sucked, but people I worked with were good fun. Where I met my first wife. Made friends along the way, don't know any of them anymore. But because I was only here for 3 years, it was three, I think. And just kind of moved on and left them behind, I guess. Facebook and LinkedIn and stuff. I kind of caught track of some of them. One guy ended up working there for 40 years. I think he's retired now. He was even younger than me. Put in his whole career there. Biological sciences must be a big deal because their building sure is big. Walk on the outskirts of campus here. Downtown off to the north. Quite a few ice patches around, but they've graveled the hell out of these sidewalks, so the slip ratio is pretty low. This Tory building was the furthest building I had to go on my rounds. One of the oldest buildings too, aside from the buildings I showed you earlier. Unfortunately, I'm doing this at night, but the day got away from me. Can't remember what this building is. Pretty funky looking though. Kind of shaped like nearly like a pyramid or something. Almost looks theatrical. I missed the sign of what it was. This is Hub Mall over here, and also student residences. Used to be a couple good bars in Hub Mall we used to frequent. this job was where I really learned to drink. This is the Arts Building. Pretty cool old structure. Some funky architecture there. Looks like they encapsulated an old building inside there. I think it's neat when they do that, when they put another facade around an old building and retain the old architecture behind it. Trying to find the name of this building. I think it's part of the arts, music arts hall. Pretty cool that the old architecture remains. Best I can tell, it's called the South Academic Building. I did find working on campus interesting. Like I said, it's its own ecosystem, and you felt like you were in another world when you were out here. And for a lot of these students, this is the only world they really knew or do know for 4 years or so. Phys Ed building there. Student Union building. Used to be a bar way at the top of that building that we frequented quite a bit. I forget the name of it. Was it Rat? Something like that. And that is the General Services building that I used to work in many, many moons ago. We had 2 floors of data center in there at one time. I have no clue what's in there now. I've already done a loop, and I'm sure I've only seen half the campus. Let's just walk a little bit more randomly here. This is the agriculture building here. One year as a prank during Ag Week, some of the students got a hold of the stuff that makes the stink in natural gas, and they poured some of it in the superintendent's office. They had the fire department out, and they spent weeks trying to get that smell out. I'm sure I could smell it in there for 6 months. I'd be out doing my rounds and smelling natural gas, but it wasn't really natural gas. It was just the stink from it. I don't know what goes on in there, but they keep changing the color of the lights. Looks like a lot of these buildings are connected with headways, or plus 15s as they're called in Calgary, which is nice, being a winter city. Back in my day, we had to dart across the campus outside. Well, this gives a little bit of a view of the campus at night. So far, fairly safe at 8 o'clock at night. Not a lot of people around, but there's enough. I am just walking in circles right now, though. I do notice that most people are walking in pairs. Safety in numbers, right? Didn't head all the way south. That would take me to the Jubilee Auditorium and Lister Hall. I think the old power plant is out there too. Used to be a restaurant in the old power plant, and they built the new one. Don't know if that still exists anymore. Well, I'm back at General Services building again, and I've been wandering for about an hour, so I'm sure I did about 5 kilometers. But let's get to the car and look. That was just over 5 kilometers and about 10,100 steps, so not a bad walk, and a little bit of a different environment wandering around the university, kind of poking at the old memory and going down memory lane. So until the next one.